Alrighty, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kino from STEMwithKino.com, and this is Afoqt Weekly. Not sure if Facebook is up all the way yet. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is the or the well, I do all military aptitude tests. All right, so today will be. Okay, hold on. I'm just looking at a notification. Okay, so today will be the AFOQT for United States Air Force OTS candidates and ROTC candidates. Primarily, I do cater to the aviation community or the cadets and applicants that want to be Air Force aviators. But if you're like doing that's like the hardest the test will get. If you're going if you are applying for another job in the United States Air Force, then basically you'll be okay because I cover the whole test. So if I cover the aviators, I'll be covering all the aviation side of things. I'll be covering all other areas. Okay, so let's take a look here. See who's in the room. Give me a moment, guys, and we'll get underway here. Okay, I have to kill the volume here. Quanisha, how you doing? Congratulations, Quanisha, on your aviation selection test battery score. Who else? Austin. Austin. He met the requirements as well this week. Last week we had Katie. We had Earl. So we're definitely getting guys through. All right. What state or country are you from? Please type that into the chat. Also, please hit the like button. Joe, I see you, Joe. How are you? Good, 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 good. Thanks to Kino Vision. I like that. I'm always talking about Kino Vision. The Kino Vision is the little phrase I came up with when you start, really just looking at these questions in a tactical testing type situation and really executing the questions efficiently. So you're said to have Kino Vision. I see Quanisha. I see Joe. Who else is in the room? And get those questions ready. All right, so this is pretty cool. All right. All right, so basically, and who's here on Facebook land? Okay, so today is AFOQT. Tyler, good to see you, buddy. All right, so Tyler's here on Facebook land. Good to see you. The Facebook is up and running. Last week was an issue. It was a browser issue, but now it seems to be up and running. I actually did two like simulator videos, and it's recording my voice. It's recording um, my voice. It's recording the switches when you flip them, but it is not recording the environment, like the sound you would hear in the cockpit. So that's something else that we'll have to work on. All right, but it's good to see you, and let's get into this. Okay, so um, I don't need this page per se. Please hit that like button on YouTube land. Govia.23Z. Good afternoon. C3CO. Yes. Cadet third. Okay. Studying for my second time and final time. Hope I pass it. Well, I hope you do too. And if you need tutoring, I'm the man for the job. Quanisha, would you just on the message board just type in my Skype information? Just type Skype and then keynote.thomas for me, please. Most people are not, and if I don't know how long you've been watching Jehovah. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but now I see Ortiz, so I'm going to call you Ortiz, if that's okay. But Ortiz, most people are not prepared for this test, as you probably saw the first time around. And most people need a tutor. And I tell every week, I say this every week, I've only met 3 people in 10 years where you could be like, okay, I'm going to take this test, and they're okay to take it. And, it's just the way it is. And sadly, nobody really, I don't think anybody ever tells you, like, okay, you only have 2 times to take this. And you could go, and I think there's some way you can get a waiver, but it's probably not that good of a look, because it's like, wow, you took this test twice, and then now you got a waiver. So even if you get that waiver, your GPA will probably have to be strong, especially like on the aviation side of things. They will probably want you to be like an engineering major or something like that. So, So yeah, tomorrow is the aviation selection test battery live stream, and Saturday is the United States Army SIFT, and that is for United States Army ROTC cadets, and also for WAFT applicants, Warrant Officer Flight Training. Okay, Puerto Rico. Oh, there's a song, Puerto Rico. Welcome from the PR. Okay. Okay, let me see what your comment is from Puerto Rico, and there's no tutoring for Afoqt. Only the ASVAB, that's why I watch your videos. Well, if you contact me on Skype, you could contact me directly, and I can bring you in on groups and one-on-one, and just kind of see where your weaknesses are, because most people do not know how to tactically take an exam. For instance, I always say, and this is another thing I say every week, and Quanisha and Joe can confirm what I'm saying, you can't take 5 minutes on a question. If you take 5 minutes on a question, you're only going to get 5 or 6 done. You want to nail at least 20 questions. So it's like you answer 6 because you're 5 minutes per question, and that's why you need a. It's on as Quanisha typed it in. It's above, and I think you have to put it in lowercase letters though. But if there's 25 questions on the table and you only do 6, you want to get at least 20 of them. And, if you only do 6, you're leaving a lot on the table, points-wise. So that's why, anybody that I work with, I do an assessment. Actually, the assessment is continuous. It's continuous. And I look for your weaknesses. And there's no magic. I find your weaknesses and I just beat the heck out of them. And I make them your strong points. Okay, so, I'm glad. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're following me on YouTube or subscribe to me on YouTube or follow me on Facebook, and please hit the like button. We only have 1 like or dislike. I don't care which one, but people, please hit the like or the dislike. I don't care which one you hit. All right. And if there's anything constructive criticism you guys may have, I'm open to that. Okay. All right. So we're going to do something historical. We're going to do something aeronautical, and for the United States Air Force, we're going to go into some. This comes from the United States Air Force history, or the United States Air Force Historical Support Division. All right. I will put a link here if you want to follow this up. I'm dropping this on YouTube. The link to the Air Force Historical Support Division. And for my Facebook people, I'm dropping a link there as well for you guys. Okay, so there's the link. If you guys are preparing for the AFOQT, here's some historical facts that you need to know, but I will run through them. All right, let me just copy, and let me just get this over here to this side so we can be on the same browser. There's a new browser, Google Chrome Beta, and that was the issue. So I'm going to actually clip and paste these. If you're following me on Facebook, you can see this stuff directly. And if not, I will verbally, for my YouTubers, I will verbally. So we're going to get caught up. All right. We talked about 1903. Okay. This was the flight of the Wright brothers in 1903. This was the first heavier than air flight. You have lighter than air, and it's a specific flying category. Lighter than air are your balloons, dirigibles, and stuff like that. Lighter than air meaning that they heat air and expand it in a balloon so it is lighter than the atmospheric air around it or outside. And so that's how balloons get their lift. Okay. 1903 was the first heavier than air flight. So this is where flight is accomplished, where you're not using those expanding gases or heating of gases. And all right, I'm posting this on the page now, this image. Boom. So we can get ourselves up to speed so you guys can follow along with all the Air Force historical stuff. All right, so that was 1903. December 17th, 1903. The Wright brothers, they flew. Okay. So then you had the Signal Corps. Now, you had the Air Force, but it was kind of more like the Army's Air Force or the Army's Air Force. And then later on, the Air Force separated from the Army. All right, so in this next clip from 1907 to 1911, and, there could be possible questions that come up on this. On the Aviation Selection Test Battery, the United States Navy's test, they do come up with a lot of historical questions. And so I'm thinking, why would the Air Force be any different? They want to make sure you've done some research about the branch that you're going to dive into or go into. So this next block from 1907 to, I'm waiting for it to populate, from 1907 to 1911, the Signal Corps, the Army had their first airplane. The U.S. Army Signal Corps specified that its first airplane, should have a range of 125 miles and a minimum speed of 40 miles per hour. Now we have airplanes that fly in excess of 2,000 miles per hour and could remain aloft for 1 hour while carrying two people. When those requirements were met by Orville and Wilbur Wright, the Wright brothers, the Signal Corps purchased the first Signal Corps number 1 for $30,000. Airplanes are not $30,000 anymore. And it was delivered on August 2nd, 1909. All right, so Signal Corps number 1. All right, we got the 1903. Very good, very good, very good. 1908, we had our first fatality in a powered aircraft. A modified Wright brothers aircraft crashed during a demonstration at Fort Myers, Virginia, seriously injuring pilot Orville Wright and killing the observer. So one of the Wright brothers had an observer, and this observer was U.S. Army Lieutenant Thomas E. Selfridge. Selfridge's death was a severe blow. For through his experiments with Alexander Graham Bell, he ran with Alex. He gained great technical knowledge and knew, and there's some more to this. All right, but guys can go to the site and see that on your own. All right, the first air arm in 1909. All right, I will. All right, so after the plane passed the final flight performance test, collected from July 27th to the 30th of 1909, the rights as part of their contract with the government had to train 2 Army officers as pilots. The officers selected to receive flight training were Lieutenants Frank P. Lamb, that's LAHM, and Frederick E. Humphreys. The instruction began on October 8 at College Park, Maryland. Shout out to the people of Maryland. All right. Let's get that up too. So these are fun little Air Force facts, historical facts. All right, and we're going to get into an aeronautical, some aviation information, and then we will answer questions. All right. So there we go, there we go, there we go. So we'll pick up on this, and every week that you guys come back, and hopefully this target audience is really for the Air Force ROTC cadets and the OTS candidates that are looking to get a commission. I'll be doing this every week and kind of updating things and stuff. And what else? Yeah, that's about it. We'll just keep piling on more and more and more historical information every week. And I do the same for the Navy and the Army as well. And again, the live stream tomorrow for the Aviation Selection Test Battery and OAR for the United States Navy will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then 2 in the afternoon, and these are all Eastern time. So Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, and Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And you guys can always bring math questions to whatever I do. Even if you're preparing for the ASVAB, you can always bring questions. Because I understand you have to have a certain GT score. So you're going to have to take the ASVAB. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And Quanisha, you're in the room. Quanisha, did they make you take the ASVAB? And you can respond to that. I know there's a time delay, but did they make you take the ASVAB? But I believe everybody has to take the ASVAB. I don't see my buddy Philip Fu in here. He would be able to give me some background on that. So your AFOQT is like kind of like the ASVAB on steroids a little bit. Okay, so we got that out. Now, aeronautically, fixed wing. Is there anything that anybody would like to talk about in the room? Because if you brought something, you've been going through your AFOQT test prep book, and you haven't. Okay. All right. So, is there something in the book, aviation related, that you just read and you went to the back and you were looking and you just did not understand? Oh, wait a moment. And I guess now is live reducer. Okay, yeah, so you either have to start out or not. Okay. All right, I was just looking at something, guys. Now, all right. Do I have to learn by heart the aviation part? I'm not going to be a pilot. Do I have to learn by heart the aviation part? I'm not going to be a pilot. Yeah, if you're not seeking to be a pilot, that is something that you would initially get over. Make your attentions to your recruiter, whoever your recruiter are, you OTS guys, or so you could take it. It would help you build points for your pilot and your nav score. and don't quote me on this, but I believe that might help you with your overall aptitude assessment. It's always a good look to have some knowledge, but I don't think it will count against you wholly. I'm actually by next week I will know this, but I'm going to talk to an officer recruiter and ask them about that to see if they can get me any information about that. But yeah, if you're going into combat systems or something like that, or intel, or like another area, I would not imagine that they would, the things I think what they want to do is just kind of see where you are. And I mean, if you don't meet the minimum requirements for the pilot and the nav numbers, then they're not going to even go that way. And if you've already talked to your recruiter, then no. I know that a lot of people have a lot of problems with the math and the arithmetic reasoning. And that's where you want to score. You want to score big in those areas. You really don't want to play with that because it's a competition. It's basically a competition. Your packet goes up, and you submit your packet submitted, and you're applying for a commission and all that and everything, and you want the best numbers you can get. Otherwise, and things are gotten backed up because everybody knows what we're going through. I'll just say CV because I think if you say the whole word, I think it messes with your algorithm or whatever. So everybody knows what CV is. There's been a backup, but testing is happening in certain parts of the country, and they'll be back up. The Air Force is in the business of recruiting qualified people, and so nothing better for the drive back home. Oh, how you doing, John? Good to see you, buddy. And I will see you later. They're recruiters in the business of recruiting, and so they need talent, and the military has a mission. And that mission on the recruiting side of things is to fill training slots, to maintain the numbers, and the strength of those numbers attribute to the strength of the United States Air Force. And so, recruiting will be back to normal. This is another fact. I was actually looking at the United States Army ROTC, the commandant of ROTC, Army ROTC, actually had a town hall yesterday. And it's funny because we're coming up on the end of the summer where all branches, whether you're Coast Guard, Navy, the ROTC people, your Coast Guard, Navy, Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, ROTC, you go to, well, in the Air Force, they call it field training. And, it'd be your however many weeks that you go away for training. And normally the training is, where you're in formation and you're running and you're going through drill and ceremonies and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, you go through certain training, leadership reaction courses and things of that nature. And it's very close, not taking any, like before this CV mess, there was no such thing as social distancing. So, I mean, I guess that drill sergeant is going to be screaming at you for like 12 feet away. Drop it, give me 50. He's like way over there. Well, normally the guy, he'd be right here with the brim of his hat, like touching you, like, drop it, give me 50. So now with the CV, it's kind of like, they're making some adjustments. And I never even thought about that. So what's happening, and I'm imagining that this is going to affect the Air Force too, there's going to be some adjustments made for CV because, they, like most people, they believe, the CV is an issue and they are making adjustments, if you would. Okay, so questions. I'll put this in my email because everybody does not have a Skype connection with me, but those are all lowercase letters, by the way. But not everybody has a Skype connection, and not everybody's following me on Facebook. All right. Yeah. And all of my AFOQT, my Air Force ROTC cadets, tell more people. We just started this channel, so the numbers are kind of low, and that's to be expected. I've been doing the Navy and the Army for much longer, and we just started this AFOQT live stream a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, definitely get this out to your aerospace science instructors, and let them know, because this is a free place where you can just drop questions and get them answered. Okay, so let's go into our aviation term. I have not received any notices or emails, not that I can see. So I will go into my own aviation information. Fact, all right. All right. I had a book ready to go. There you go. My scheduling book was pointing in the book, all right. So, some fun facts about the AFOQT. First, I'm going to talk about, I am going to go into the aviation part of it, but I just want to give you guys some fun facts about the AFOQT. And actually, let's talk about the subtests. First of all, you have verbal analogies, arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, math knowledge, instrument comprehension, that's a pilot, block counting, important for pilots, table reading, aviation information, general science, rotated blocks, and hidden figures. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 subtests that you're going to be responsible for preparing for. And actually, I would like to, okay. Somebody sent me an image, and I'm going to present the image because you guys kind of direct where this thing goes, where the Kino train goes. All right, so I want to talk about verbal analogies first. All right, and I want to give you guys some pointers on how to deal with verbal analogies. So on the Facebook page, I'm dropping the question that was sent to me, and it's asking, how do I handle this? Or the person is asking, how do I handle this? I keep you guys anonymous unless you guys want your name mentioned, but it is posted on Facebook page, on the Facebook page, and for my people that are in YouTube land, I will just read it aloud, and you'll understand. Okay, so this question is, mile is to distance as pound is to blank. So you have to look at your first two words. Miles is to distance, as pound is to what? Okay, our options are A, weight, B, volume, C, length, D, height, and E, ounce. You have to look at the relationship of the first two words. Mile is to distance, as pound is to what? So, a mile is a unit of distance. Okay, so when you look at pound, what's a unit of a pound? Or how are pounds described? Miles are kind of described as a distance. Like, okay, I did a 1 mile run or I did a 22 mile run. Okay, So it's a description, as pound is to weight, volume, length, height, or ounce. All right, and guys, matter of fact, let's get some crowd participation. What would you choose? A, B, C, D, or E? Or you can actually type in the word weight, volume, length, height, or ounce. Which would you guys choose if you were taking this, if this was your test question? And this looks familiar, this particular question. I've been preparing people for this test forever. I've seen this test before. Don't be shy. Miles is to distance as pound is to weight, volume, length, height, or ounce. Okay. You got one for weight, or WAI, but I know what you meant. You got weight. Quanisha came in with weight. Okay, that was John coming in. All right. Okay. So that is the answer, weight. So you have to watch the relationship of the words. Okay. They have sent another one. And again, if you guys want questions answered, if you're connected with me on Skype, you can send me the question on Skype. If you are not, you can, the Gmail is posted. My Gmail address is posted. It's funny getting used to all these darn windows. Okay, there we go. Posting this on the Facebook page. Okay, this is another verbal analogy. And let me refresh. And thank you, Lokalani. I just saw your response. Good job. Good job. Okay, the next one is posted up. And this is the second one. Card is to deck. As ship is to A is sail. D, B is deck. C is paddle. D is ocean. E is fleet. Okay, so card is to a deck. As ship is to what? A is sail. B is deck. C is paddle. D is ocean. E is fleet. All right, somebody hit me. What would you choose? Okay, Samuel comes in with fleet. John comes in with fleet. Very good. Look, Lonnie's all over these. Good job. Okay, so the relationship, card is to deck as ship is to fleet. A card, a bunch of cards make up a deck. A bunch of ships make up a fleet. Okay. So the subscriber that sent that question, that's really, really, really good. Let's we have other areas. We have arithmetic, reasoning, word knowledge. Actually, let's send me something for aviation, because I said I would talk about aviation. Nobody has really expressed an interest as of yet, but I am here. What is a pylon? Okay. That's a good question. A pylon is basically, it is a, you can call it a pylon or a hard point. Aircraft pylon.
All right, According to Quora, a pylon is a rigid
So and this was actually a question that came up on the aviation selection test battery. I got this during a debrief, and I'm dropping this on the Facebook page now. All right, so you can physically see what a pylon is. Well, the definition. I think there's an image on here too. We'll see in a minute, but I think I'm going to post that and then the definition, and then I'm actually going to and it's not to be confused with the engine nacelle. This is a really pretty cool plane because it's actually color coded. So you can actually see the pylon and you can see the nacelle. And let me give credit to whom credit is due. This comes from Quora. All right, so let's get this up on the Facebook page, and then I'll read out the. Okay, so you can see the color coding, and before we even get to the color coding, what the heck happened to the definition? All right. It's probably taking a minute to populate. Okay. So, in an aircraft pylon, a pylon is a rigid structure used to hold the heavy aircraft engine in its place and position under or over, occasionally, an aircraft's wing. That'd be like a seaplane, I guess, without interfering with the airflow over and under the aircraft wing that is needed for control and lift. So basically, with the pylon, kind of pushes the engine down a little bit, so it does not, that drag doesn't affect or minimally affects the wing. So the pylon is like the structure that hangs down. All right, so I'm falling apart here, guys. So if we had like a wing, like a 737 wing, this would be the pylon. All right, and this would actually be the engine nacelle. So it's hanging downward, and it's intake in the air. This is the fans that you guys see when you look in the front. So this is actually the pylon. So it's a rigid structure, used to hold the heavy aircraft engine in its place and position under the aircraft's wing without interfering with the airflow over and under the wing. So that was good. That was good. Okay. All right. So we got our aviation term out of the way, and that applies to Navy and you guys are SIFT guys. The Army helicopters like the AH-64, it has pylons, and not for engines, but you can mount like weapon systems. All right. So that is a pylon as well, or I think they call it a hard point, but it's still a pylon. It's a rigid structure used to hold the weapon system in its place, and it's not necessarily a wing, but it's still a pylon. All right. Math questions, guys. What do we hate about math, guys? What do we hate about math? What do we hate? We look like, oh, not that question. Damn. Not like those type of questions. Where are we at, folks? Mm-hmm. You guys know I can come up. Where's Darren at? I don't see Darren in the room. I guess he had something to do, but he'll catch us later. But Darren, that's my buddy. I'm proud of him. He's come a long way, and he's got a couple more leaps and bounds to jump over. But I have great expectations for him. All right, nothing. We're all just experts at math, are we? All right. Well, I have been forced to look up something. You know, sequences with radicals. Sequences with radicals in them. And figuring them out to the nth term. Okay, there is a formula calculating the nth term. Okay. There is a formula. And I want to give you guys this formula. Now, a sequence can be arithmetic or it could be geometric when we talk about numbers. So let's talk about the arithmetic first. All right. And let me go. Arithmetic sequence. I want to come up with something that's cut and dry. So let's talk about an arithmetic sequence. All right. So arithmetic sequence is when we have a list of numbers or a sequence of numbers, and we have to find what we call a common difference. All right. And so the common difference is the number that gets you from the next number to the next number to the next number. All right. So let's say we had a sequence of 5, 9, 13, and 17. Or we had a common difference of numbers 20, 17, 14, and 11. We have to look at an arithmetic sequence. We'll be adding or subtracting to get to the next number. So, crowd participation, guys. I'd like to know what you guys think the common difference is. And it is the number that gets us from the next number to the next number to the next number. Then we're going to talk about geometric if we have time. And then we'll talk about the actual formula to find the nth term. But there's some groundwork we have to cover before we even get to that. And if I don't get to it, we'll get into it next week. Quanisha's going to remind me. I'll mess with you, Quanisha. I'll remember. Okay. So, in order to get to 5 to 9, we add 4. And then in order to get to 9 to 13, we add another 4. And 13 to 17, we add another 4. So this is what we call the common difference. The common difference. Okay. In this case, it is minus 3. Okay. So basically, when you're dealing with sequences, you have to look for patterns. So before this, I was like, well, how do we get to there to there? Plus 4. How do we get from there? Oh, look, plus 4 again. Here to here, plus 4 again. So when you're looking for the 10th term or the nth term, there's a formula for that. And we will jump into this next week because we're probably not going to have time to finish it. But 5, 9, this is the 4th term. Well, there's a way you can find the 10th term or the 5th term. Now, me myself, if I was looking for the 5th term, that's easy. All right. I would just say 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th term, which is this guy, is 21. All right. In this case, the 5th term would be 8. All right. So the first thing when you look at sequences of numbers, you gotta look at the patterns and try to establish a pattern. Sometimes they can get a little funky, like Quanisha reference, like the square roots. All right. But the square roots normally, most of the ones that I've heard about in the debriefs are really not that bad. It's really the whole number that you're looking at, and I'll go into that. But 5, 9, 13, that's what I'm looking for. So whenever they give you a sequence of numbers, you just want to be like, okay, how do we get from here to here, to here to here, to here to here? That's the best way to look at them so you can find the common difference. All right. So that is the arithmetic sequence. There's also something called a geometric sequence. A geometric sequence occurs when we're multiplying. So one geometric sequence could look like this. All right. All right, and I want somebody to find the fifth term. If you understand what the common difference is. And the fifth term on this one. So we'll call this question A and this question B. And I'd like to get some crowd participation. John is one of my superstars, so I know he's going to answer both of these. No, he's actually driving. I forgot. All right, John, you're off the hook. So we're multiplying by 3. So, Quanisha, tell me what the fifth term is. Because this is how you're going to have to figure them out on a basic level. See what Tyler and Lokalani are doing over there. Oh, Lokalani, you quiet. Tyler? 162. Yep, 162 is it. Now, Quanisha, good job. What is the common difference in these numbers? So tell me what you think the common difference is, and then I'd like you to tell me what the fifth term is. And whether these come up on SIF tests, ASTBE, OAR, everybody gets these in the area of math. So don't think like, oh, this is just AFOQT. I don't have to look at that. Yes, you do. Okay, Quanisha, I don't see a response. Negative 256. Negative 256. I eyeballed it. Good job. So, well, I asked for it was 4. We multiplied by 4. So, negative 1, positive 4 is negative 4. Times a positive 4 is negative 16. Times a positive 4, I didn't need that one, is negative 64. And negative 256 would be the fifth term. Guys, please hit 1 if you understand what's taking place here. And Tyler, is that for the muscle soreness? Okay, Lokalani was on that too. Good job, Lokalani. Next week on the FOQT, we will do the nth term. where you can plug in, you can find the 10th term down the road or the 20th term down the road, given the geometric sequence or the arithmetic sequence. It's good stuff to know, guys, because that is what's going to separate you from the herd. You're going to be rated against everybody, I guess, for that month that takes the exam. They're going to look at your degree. They're going to look at your age. They're going to look at, your background. And they put all this data together. And then that's how they kind of fill your score. You're like on a bell curve. Or you're somewhere, you fall somewhere on a bell curve. So these are the type of math operations you want to be very familiar with, because when they pop up, you want to be able to execute them. Everybody can't just go ahead and like understand sequences and stuff like that, or common differences or common ratios and finding the nth term. So these are the type of math problems you want to look at, because a lot of people to a lot of stuff, I hate math. Oh, this looks like Chinese, and you guys are gonna have to get above that, because if you do really well on this test, it's gonna change your life, and so you have to put in the work. Nothing, and I'm an old dog. Nothing in this world is free, or comes without some type of cost, sacrifice, or pain. You have to exert some type of energy. So while it may not be fun, if you take a couple months off and just focus and filter out the bull loney, you'll be fine. Okay. So we have 2 minutes left in this live stream. I saw a couple new faces, or at least one. Ortiz, make sure you get in touch with me. And I'd like to talk about what you scored. We got to look at what you scored. You don't have to put it. Don't type it in the message board here. Those are your personal scores. But the scores you got. You can send me a picture of your scores if you like. And we'll put a plan together to get you squared away. Samuel Dominique. I think I may have seen your name before. I'm not really sure, but I see you today, and I noticed like you're not like one of the regular faces that show up. So thanks for watching. Tyler Lokalani on the Facebook side. Okay. So, John, I hope you're ready, buddy, because you're next. Okay. So, guys, this is a new channel. And, it's specifically for AFOQT, if I can pronounce my words properly, applicants. The best way to get the most out of this live stream, get your test prep book, read through it, find out what you have difficulty with, and bring it to the stream. It doesn't cost you a dime. Maybe a like or dislike or follow or share, but hey, that's nothing. I'm here every week, Thursdays at 5 p.m. United States Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard, Aviation Selection Test Battery and OAR, Fridays at 5 p.m. United States Army WAFT candidates and ROTC candidates, Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. No matter what test you're taking, you can bring math to any live stream. All the math is beneficial, and you need to get as much math exposure as possible, because most people don't. Calculating equations, even long division. You'd be surprised how many people don't do well with long division because they haven't done it since elementary school. After they gave you that calculator, that was it. Like, yo, I don't have to use a calculator anymore. But technology is a gift and a curse. All right. If you get some machine to do some thinking for you, then that's one area where you stop thinking. So that's something to think about. So, guys, I thank you all for checking in. Please come back next Thursday. Please bring questions. And I will see you guys next week. My name is Kino with STEMwithKino.com, and I'd like to thank you for coming to the Afoqt Weekly. Bye. YouTube down.